Let's welcome to the show Florida Congressman Greg Steube. It's good to see you, Congressman. We're going to move on to this. We've got more mayors of local towns in Illinois slamming Illinois Democrats, including the governor, for a, quote, horrible new law that eliminates cash bail. It's for a whole list of violent crimes like burglary, robbery, arson, and kidnapping. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, there's no coincidence between the soft-on-crime policies that Democrats have had and the rise in crime that we've seen in democratically led cities. And the people are outcrying. They don't want soft-on-crime policies. They want people to pay for the crimes that they've committed. And we are seeing a huge increase in crime in these democratically led cities and states because of soft-on-crime policies. Republicans don't stand for that. We stand for policies that require people to do the time for the crimes that they commit.
Let's watch the mayor of Orland Park in Illinois go after the Democrat Governor Pritzker for not understanding that residents do deserve safety. Watch this.
I have no idea why someone would want this. It clearly puts citizens and police officers at risk in the favor of criminals who are violent and puts us all at risk. He is not listening to us on this, and historically he doesn't really listen to any of us. He does what he feels like. He did the same thing through COVID and didn't listen to us. So it's not a surprise that he's not listening.
How is he not listening? Because Gallup says the majority of Americans say they worry a great deal about crime, and that's at its highest in 6 years.
Yeah, and this is going to be a huge issue in the midterm elections. The majority of Americans care about their cities and their communities that they live in to be safe, and Democrats don't care for that. I mean, Kamala Harris herself was bailing people out of jail during the last summer where people were rioting, and that's not the type of policies the Americans support, and that's going to be on the agenda and on the ballot in November. And I think the American people stand for safety and security. Even
Harvard University is putting out a study. It's finding that the cop shortage in the U.S. is so bad in U.S. cities, it's even lower per capita than in France, Germany, Belgium, and Italy. That the law enforcement presence on U.S. streets is far below that of Japan, the Netherlands, Norway, and Switzerland.
Well, and if you're somebody that's interested in law enforcement, are you going to go into the force under the current environment where it's defund the police? There's not support for our law enforcement officers. My father's a former sheriff. My brother's still in the force in Manatee County, and he's going to retire as soon as he has the ability to do that because there's not support in the community for the law enforcement. There is in places like Florida, but not in these other cities, and that's having a huge detrimental impact on the safety and security of the American people, and I think that's going to be on the ballot in November.
And Congressman, cops and firemen, they've also had to deal with vaccine mandates, right? And the way that they've been administered has been so uneven and unfair. In fact, a New York City judge just tossed that out and said NYPD cops cannot be fired over that. It's the first ruling of its kind. Let's watch again former New York City Fire Department Captain Brendan Fogarty on this. Watch this.
I was a captain for the New York City Fire Department. I served for 20 years, and I went from being essential to being disposable from the mandates. I gave my best years to this city, 20 years, from 21 to 41, and then they take it away at the peak of my earning career. I made it to captain. I was allowed to work in this city, but I wasn't allowed to eat in a restaurant in this city.
Thank you very much.
I was allowed to work through the pandemic, but I wasn't allowed to eat in a restaurant. I could wear the uniform, go to a burning building, but not eat here.
Thank you.
What's wrong with you people? Trust the science. You guys are f***ed up.
You know, he got cheers for that, and they got chills listening to it because there's so much common sense in that, Congressman. He's a 20-year vet, and then he was suddenly deemed non-essential?
Yeah, he said it better than I ever could, and thankfully we have people like that who have served our country in the fire department or in the police department. Thankfully in Florida we don't have policies like that, which is why people are flocking to the state of Florida. We shouldn't have vaccine mandates. We should allow people to have those decisions, and it's having a huge detriment on law enforcement, on firefighters, because of these mandates in all of these different cities.
You know, we've been reporting, Congressman, you've been on about this, the plummeting rate of arrests in the U.S. Barely half of murder cases in the U.S. get solved. The national homicide clearance rate is at an all-time low, according to the FBI. So this is a fallout of Democrats defund the police and the policies that have hit U.S. cities really hard. Final word.
Well, and homicides are at a record high in some of these cities. Violent crime is at a record high in some of these cities, and rhetoric has consequences. So when you talk about defunding the police, young men and women who want to serve aren't willing to go in and serve. And that's having a huge detriment on crime, and that's going to be on the ballot in November.
Got it. Congressman Steube, thanks for joining us.